Hello, Giants fans. Welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. Well, I'm pretty happy with the way the postseason is going. We got a big surprise there with Dodgers and Diamondbacks. I don't think any of us expected the D-backs to just crush up on the Dodgers and get ahead 2 games like that. Clayton Kershaw in Game 1, he had not just a poor outing, but a disastrous one. He wasn't able to record more than 1 out against the D-backs, and he allowed 6 total earned runs. So an absolute disaster for Kershaw. That's the postseason's just been his thing all throughout his career. The time when he just, a lot of the time, just has not been able to step out, and I think it's been a major reason that the Dodgers have gotten eliminated in so many years when they seemed so likely to win the World Series, although they did go all the way in 2020. But this year, they're facing elimination now, so hopefully we'll soon be able to say that the Dodgers are no longer a threat. It's very close, but the D-backs need to remember that the Dodgers are definitely a resilient team and that it's unlikely they'll go down without a fight, and sometimes it's just at times like this when the Dodgers finally get it together. So the D-backs need to keep that in mind, make sure they're at full intensity, and hopefully this division series will do it. The Rangers are on top of the Orioles in the American League Division Series, 2-0. So it would honestly be really neat if Bruce Bochy could win another World Series. It is certainly not the same thing as him doing that with the Giants, but it would be super cool to see him win one. So we'll just see what happens here. I do think the Rangers have a pretty good chance, but you just never know what's going to happen in October. Now, getting back to the Giants, we've just had a lot to talk about recently because of just the time we're living in right now, and so much is going on in San Francisco. And I touched on the firing of Gabe Kapler, and I just don't think we can tell one way or another how that's going to set the stage for Farhan Zaidi. I really don't know Zaidi's motives, and I don't think that we can know until this offseason goes by at least, whether he was just trying to do something desperate to get the attention off of himself. And it was worth noting that Kapler was fired at kind of an awkward time. They didn't even wait till the end of the season after the Giants were eliminated. Zaidi brought him into his office and dismissed him before the final set against the Dodgers. That is worth noting. But on the other hand, Zaidi does seem pretty serious right now about having to make changes, and I think just everybody there in the front office understands that this is a time when the Giants need to regroup and think about how they're playing baseball, because it's just not happening the right way. And the results that they're getting are unacceptable. They should be a contending team by now, and they're just not. And until that's figured out, no one can just be acting like things are okay. What Zaidi essentially said was, we need to change the way we're thinking about things. And that honestly is just so true. Like, you couldn't make a truer statement. The way the Giants have been doing this. I mean, it's just not, it's not working. And they've been reluctant sometimes to sign the free agents that they need to sign, and maybe part of that is just thinking that their minor league system is going to take care of everything, which it's not. It's just that is not really the way this game works. And to just expect that there's some safety net of having prospects come to the big leagues, and that somehow this kind of homegrown talent will just, in and of itself, produce a contending team. I mean, I just don't see that as accurate. And it is a really serious situation for the Giants right now. But you know what? Already, I think they're going wrong in a very real sense. They're listing the managerial candidates, and I've read kind of quite a bit about this, but honestly, they just are not giving enough attention to Buster Posey. And I don't know why that is. They're considering a lot of guys who, like, I think they consider their experience to be just good and everything, but not giving enough attention here to Buster Posey is just kind of a problem. And I understand that he might be one of the more difficult guys to kind of bring to do it, particularly considering the fact that he owns stock in the team. But honestly, I think they need to do whatever it takes to get Buster. And I don't feel like enough attention is being given, and I don't feel like they genuinely realize how much of a difference that could make. It's not, I don't think, that they're not considering him at all. It's just that they're not emphasizing him enough as just the best candidate for the manager position. This, I sincerely believe, could be as serious as missing out on a good free agent. And we saw plenty of that last year. Oh man, we saw plenty of that. And yet missing out on a manager that could just be the thing for the Giants. That's just, it could be as serious as missing out on the free agents you're supposed to be signing. I will say things like this, as much both reasoning and emotion as you can put into a thing like this. You want to get the guy to manage that's just been the hero for the Giants in so many championships and just on the minds of all of their fans, and such a link to the good old times, you know. And I mean, I will say that that's just never a guarantee of success. And I mean, a real good example of this is in the case of the Cubs and David Ross. I mean, if anybody's not aware here just of how big of a figure David Ross was in the 2016 World Series for the Cubs, I'm not just talking about his on-field performance, but just what he was in the clubhouse. You know, it was just, you couldn't take David Ross's contribution lightly at all. It was no surprise when the Cubs hired him as their manager. But his run with the Cubs did, or at least it seems to be now, like, proving to be a disappointment from their perspective. So I just bring that up to say, like that's an example of a time when getting the guy who just seemed like would be the hero just from history's, the experience of history alone, didn't work out. So you know, it is something to be aware of. But that still, it doesn't make me think any less that the Giants should give Buster Posey a fair try here. Yeah, the best, even the very best decisions, they peter out sometimes. But it's just, I'm still, like, on the side of just giving this a shot here. What better option could the Giants have? Like, what better thing could they do? I mean, they thought Gabe Kapler was the answer, and I mean, it was good in 2021, but I think just in general, he hasn't been winning the amount of games he should win, even given the resources that he has, which certainly are not too many. But I mean, I think it's time for the Giants to just, the particular reason why Buster Posey fits so well into their system right now is because I think he would bring a certain mindset to the team. And here's what it is. Well, back in the championship era, it was just the Giants were full. They were loaded with superstars. That's what made them win. And they just aren't that way anymore. It's a different type of team. Buster Posey was on the team back then, back when it was constructed right. So if he comes back, I think he can kind of bring the mindset. Yeah, the front office makes those final decisions, but if you have an on-field manager who really knows what the team needs, that's got to help for sure. So that's why the Giants would just do so well to bring him back onto the team as an on-field manager. And as far as their front office, it does appear that Farhan Zaidi is going to stay. I mean, I'm sure he still has some sleepless nights over the possibility that he might not, but it does appear that he's going to stay for one more year, and then I think that his contract is up after that. But, I mean, hopefully he really is serious this time. Because, I mean, it was time for that long ago, but hopefully he is serious about 2024 and that they've just got to play a different game here. Thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you haven't. Also, please leave your questions and comments. You know where to do it. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.